The first Michael movie ended with four simple words: his story continues. At the time, it felt like a tribute to one of the greatest entertainers in history. But now, those words seem to have been a promise. Following the massive global success of the first film, Lionsgate is officially moving forward with Michael 2, a sequel that could explore some of the biggest, most successful, and most controversial years of Michael Jackson's life. From major production updates and story details to Neverland Ranch, Jaafar Jackson's return, and a possible release date, the next chapter of the King of Pop story is already starting to take shape. So let's break down everything we know so far about Michael 2. Official confirmation. The sequel isn't just being discussed anymore, it's officially moving forward. Following the record-breaking success of the first Michael film, Lionsgate has confirmed that Michael 2 is now in the planning stages. One of the biggest updates came from Lionsgate film chief Adam Fogelson, who revealed that approximately 25% to 30% of the sequel has already been filmed. That's because during production of the first movie, director Antoine Fuqua shot a huge amount of footage covering different eras of Michael's life. As the project grew larger, the filmmakers realized there was simply too much story to fit into one film. Rather than rushing through major moments, they decided to save a significant amount of material for a second installment. This means Michael 2 already has a major head start compared to most sequels. It also explains why the first film ended with "his story continues," clearly setting up another chapter in Michael Jackson's journey. Did you expect Michael 2 to happen after watching the first movie? Were you surprised to learn that up to 30% of the sequel has already been filmed? And do you think Michael's life story can be fully told in just 2 movies? Plot details. The next chapter is expected to explore some of the biggest years of Michael Jackson's career. While the first movie focused heavily on Michael's rise to fame and concluded around the bad era, the sequel is expected to move into an entirely different stage of his life. This includes legendary periods associated with albums like Dangerous, History, and Invincible. These years featured some of the biggest tours, performances, and achievements of his career, but they also brought enormous pressure and public attention. The sequel could explore how Michael handled worldwide fame while continuing to push himself creatively. Fans are also expecting the story to cover major personal milestones, including his marriage to Lisa Marie Presley and other defining moments that shaped his later life. Unlike the first movie, which focused on becoming a superstar, Michael 2 may focus on what happened after he became the most famous entertainer on the planet. Which Michael Jackson era are you most excited to see on screen? Should the sequel focus more on his music career or his personal life? And what moment absolutely needs to be included in the film? Neverland and Controversies. This may become the most challenging part of the entire sequel. As Michael's career continued to grow, so did the controversies that surrounded him. Reports suggest that Michael 2 could include material connected to Neverland Ranch, a place that became one of the most famous and debated locations in his life. Director Antoine Fuqua reportedly filmed Neverland-related scenes during production of the first movie, meaning some of that material may already be available for the sequel. At the same time, the filmmakers face the difficult task of handling the more controversial chapters of Michael's life. Industry reports indicate that the first film had to undergo major changes because of legal restrictions involving the 1993 Chandler allegations. Because of those limitations, many believe the sequel may approach controversial events primarily from Michael's perspective, rather than attempting to present every side of the story. How the film handles these topics could become one of the biggest talking points when it finally arrives. Do you think Michael 2 should address the controversial years directly? Should the story stay focused on Michael's perspective? And how important is it for the film to balance his achievements with the challenges he faced? Jaafar Jackson returns. The heart of the sequel may once again be Jaafar Jackson's performance. One of the biggest reasons the first film connected with audiences was Jaafar Jackson's portrayal of his uncle. Many fans praised not only his physical resemblance to Michael, but also the way he captured his voice, movements, energy, and stage presence. Now, all signs point toward Jaafar returning for Michael 2, which is important because the later years of Michael's life demand an even more complex performance. The sequel is expected to explore older and more experienced versions of Michael, requiring deeper emotional scenes alongside the musical moments fans love, because audiences have already accepted Jaafar in the role. Bringing him back creates continuity and allows the story to continue naturally. The sequel may also introduce additional figures from Michael's later life, expanding the cast around him as the story moves into new territory. Did Jaafar Jackson exceed your expectations in the first movie? Do you think he'll be even better in the sequel? And can you imagine anyone else playing Michael Jackson at this point? Release date. The biggest question now is when we'll finally see Michael 2 in theaters. At the moment, Lionsgate has not announced an official release date for the sequel. However, several factors provide clues about the timeline. Because up to 30% of the movie has already been filmed, production is starting with a significant advantage. Early development is currently underway, and depending on scheduling for Antoine Fuqua, Jaafar Jackson, and the rest of the creative team, principal photography could begin in late 2026 or sometime during 2027. Once filming is complete, the project will still require editing, visual effects, music work, and post-production. Based on everything known right now, many industry observers believe 2028 is the most realistic release window. While fans may need to wait a few years, the good news is that Michael 2 is no longer just an idea, it's actively moving forward. Do you think Michael 2 will release in 2028? Would you rather wait longer for a better movie? And how excited are you to see the next chapter of Michael Jackson's story? Michael 2 has the opportunity to tell the chapters of Michael Jackson's life that the first movie simply didn't have time to cover. With Lionsgate officially moving forward, a significant portion of the film already shot, Jaafar Jackson expected to return, and major eras of Michael's life still waiting to be explored, the sequel could become one of the most anticipated music biopics of the decade. The first movie showed us the rise of a legend. Now, the sequel may show us what happened after the world already knew his name, and if his story continues was a promise, Michael 2 might finally deliver the next chapter.